Okay, cool. So, as Paul said there, guys, it's going to be about 7 or 8 minutes, and I'm going to try and expose you to being in a squat or squat relevant position for that entire time. Now, if you need a rest, then by all means do so, but otherwise try and stay in. I've got a block here to elevate my heels, which is going to be more comfortable for the vast majority of people. How many have we got in this class, Paul?
We got 60.
60. Okay, so I can't see 60 of you, so I'm just going to be giving some generic adaptations that we've tend to see with helping people with a squat. So I want you to just simply drop yourself down into a squat where you find yourself most comfortable, and the clock's on now, okay? So this is going to be part of the working set. If you don't need the block, by all means, don't use it. I may jump between the two because I find the block opens up a lot more range in my hips without me being in full range spinal flexion, which isn't a problem, but maybe not exactly what we want to be doing if we have a lot of load on our back. But the first thing I want you to try and do is I want you to just try and sink into this position. I almost want you to just try and just bob and bounce and try and just settle into a deep position. See how close you can get your bum to the floor. Some of you, maybe you can get your bum on the floor. I can't. I want you to see if you can just shift your bottom over to your left heel. Shift your bottom over to your right heel. Okay, now for those of you who are counting, we've already accumulated 1 minute time in squatting. Next thing we're going to have a go at doing is just seeing if we can open up our knees, almost like a butterfly, as wide as you can. Now, some of us are going to have a narrow stance, some of us are going to have a wide stance, completely up to you. And in fact, if you rerun this, I'd like you to maybe try it in a variety of different ones. In that process, you will figure out where your skeleton, where your soft tissue, where your body prefers to be. Maybe you'll figure out where you need to spend a bit of time to work to improve. Okay, but what I want you to do now is I want you to try and just touch your knees together. Touch your knees, or take your knees as wide apart as you can. And imagine I've got my fingers now coming from either side, and I'm going to bring them all the way together. Now our elbows are going to be like magnets, drawing them as far apart as we can, but we're not actually touching. So at the moment, it's all active repetitions coming from our hips. I want to do 5 of those. That's 3. That's 4. Trying to get a little bit further each time. If you can't get your knees all the way together, just get a little bit closer, or edge range as we call it. And then we're going to go nice and wide. From this position, all I want you to have a go at doing now is just popping your hands on the floor with your arms inside your legs. Okay? In this position, you are going to then use your elbows to just drive and pulse those legs a little bit wider. So you can maybe get a little bit of purchase on the floor. We're just going to spend 30 seconds just pulsing with our elbows, pushing on our insides of our knees, trying to get our hips nice and open. If it's uncomfortable touching on the floor, we can do it in this position here. 10 seconds just pulsing nice and wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, if you need to rest, then rest, but you've been in for about 3.5 minutes. Just out of interest, a goal when we work with people, especially if we're trying to expose them to work on their mobility, is 10 to 20 minutes of squat position per day, whether that's during a training session, whether that's when you're sat at home when you're playing with the kids. Try to accumulate this time. So just being here now, our body is adapting. Next, what I want to do is we're going to take our left hand and we're going to put it on the inside of our left knee. And from there, we're going to straighten our arm, shifting our body weight away, and then we're going to come back to the start position. So we're going to just be getting a straight back, arm comes straight, arm comes back, and we're just going to try and get that full lock. Maybe you can't get all the way at the moment. Maybe if you're doing it on the floor, you have to adjust your heels a little bit, which is fine. As I said, I'm much more comfortable working on these with a little bit of a heel elevation because it opens up my hips. We're going to go 5 this side, and we're going to shift, and we're going to come over right hand, right knee onto the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Super. Next one we're going to have a go at. Knees and calves are probably burning now, they're full up with blood, so stay there if you can, but otherwise have a little rest. We're going to take our knee, we'll go left knee, and we're going to try and take it down to the floor in front of our right foot. Right? So it's going to be internal rotation. We've been working on external rotation of the hips in the squat so far. This time we're going to try and come as close as we can to the floor, and then we're going to come back. Okay? Now, if you've got a lot of internal rotation in your hips, you might be able to do this by keeping your pelvis square. I can't, I don't have any internal rotation, but I can adjust so that I can get a knee touch. Maybe you need to pop your hand on the floor, that's also okay. If you don't have to, then I'm going to go for 5, 2 left, 1. Right side. Okay, it's been 5.5 minutes. We'll go for another 90 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? This next one we're going to do is we're going to pop our hands back in that position with the hands outside the feet but arms inside the knees, just like we did before. And from here, we're going to keep our left hand planted, and then we're going to rotate our right elbow up until our arm is straight up to the ceiling. So we get a big rotation, and then we're going to come back and we're going to swap sides. Okay, we're going to do 10 alternating. So now my right hand's on the floor outside the foot, arms straight here, left arm's going to rotate up till I'm straight, looking up at the ceiling, and I come down. That's 2. We're going to do 10 total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The straight arm on the bottom stops you body rotating, which means you have to open up through the torso. 8, 9, 10. Okay, so for the final minute, we're going to just take our knees now, so get yourself into, if your feet are shuffled a little bit, just get yourself back to that position where you're comfortable enough. We're going to try and take our knees forward. Now, if your knees are sore, you just go as far as you're able to. You pop your hands on the floor, see if you can touch your knees to the floor, and then come back. Okay, if you can just go a really light touch with just the end of your fingers. Knees just touch. 2, if you can do it without. 3, 4, final 1, 5, and gently stand up. 8 minutes.